morning and welcome to our English lesson today. In our lesson today, we are going to talk about direct and indirect speech. It is related to passive and active voice, which I taught last week. And on Monday, I taught comparison of adjectives, where I talked of adjectives that are irregular and those regular adjectives. How to compare them when it is in the comparative and when it is in the superlative. I hope people know the difference between a regular adjective and an irregular adjective, and when to use ER in the comparative and EST in the superlative, or when you are supposed to use more in the comparative and most in the superlative. So in our lesson today, we are going to talk about direct and indirect speech. And this especially affects pupils when it comes to composition writing, or it affects pupils when they ask these questions when it is in question 16 or from question 15, the grammar part question 16 or to question 25. Sometimes they give you sentences punctuated in direct speech or in the direct speech, and then they ask you to choose a sentence that is correctly punctuated. And we are not just going to deal with punctuation of sentences in direct speech, but we're also going to deal with how certain pronouns or how certain words change from the direct speech to the indirect speech. We are also going to deal with how tenses change when it comes from the direct speech to the indirect speech. So without further ado, let's go to direct speech. What is direct speech? A direct speech is a sentence in which the exact words spoken by a speaker are quoted using quotation marks or inverted commas. If I say quotation marks, what I simply mean is the speech marks. Now, in direct speech, we are going to quote the exact words spoken by a speaker by using inverted commas. And in inverted commas, we have the opening speech marks, and then the closing speech marks. So direct speech in which these words spoken by a speaker are quoted with this word, with this inverted commas. What are some of the rules or punctuating, or how do you punctuate a sentence in direct speech? Most learners do not know how to punctuate sentences in direct speech. So how do we punctuate direct speech? Number one, after the opening speech marks, the first letter should be capital. Example, I'm going to say Amina, Amina said. You have a comma. Opening speech marks. When the first letter after the opening speech mark should always be capital. For example, I work here. Amina said, I work here. Then you have a full stop, and then you close the what? You put there the closing speech marks. So after let's say Amina said, after the opening speech marks, the first letter is always capital. Now you say after the opening speech marks, the first letter should always be capital. A comma is placed before the words quoted. Quoted. Now what do we say? Amina said, Amina said, comma. That's the comma is placed before the words being quoted. And when you quote words in the direct speech, what do you have? You have the opening and closing speech marks. So Amina said, comma. You have the comma before the words being quoted, and then you have the opening speech marks. And I've said after the opening speech mark, the first letter is always capital. You have I work here. Now you have that. We say number one, after the opening speech marks, the first letter should be capital. And then number two, a comma is placed before the words quoted. Speech marks only enclose words spoken by a speaker. You are only going to enclose the words spoken by a speaker. What came out of the mouth of the speaker is what you are going to enclose in your sentence. Now, Amina said, for example, I am having my sentence. Amina said. I said before the words quoted by a speaker, you have a comma, and then opening speech marks, you say I work here. I work here, full stop, and then closing speech marks. Now, if I say you only quote the words spoken by a speaker, this is what I'm quoting. Opening speech marks, I'm having closing speech marks. I work here, I work here. But when they test this in the exams, they can also say, for opening speech marks, Amina said, I work here. Amina said, I work here. They are enclosing everything. You simply enclose or you simply quote the words spoken by a speaker. When they test proper punctuation of sentences, they bring this where they say Amina said, comma, or you can have Amina inquired, Amina asked. So you have that Amina said, then if it can be said, Amina inquired, Amina asked. You should have the, when they say Amina said, the said always can never be in the openings, in the quotation marks. But you will find some sentences where they're having everything in the quotation marks, opening in the inverted commas, or it is quoting everything. Just make sure you only quote the words that have been spoken by the speaker. All other punctuation marks are written before the closing speech marks. All other punctuation marks are written before the closing speech marks. What do I mean? All other punctuation like commas, all other punctuation marks like a full stops. We have a full stop, full stops. We have a question marks. We have question marks. We have exclamation marks. All of them are written before the closing speech mark. Example, we can say, Abdi asked. Abdi asked. We said we have the comma before the words being spoken. Opening speech marks. Are you sick? You have the capital letter. Are you sick? So I'm having Abdi asked, comma, are you sick? I'm having the question mark and then the closing speech marks. All other quotation marks are written before the closing speech marks. But you will see that some exams they'll say, are you sick? And then they have closing speech marks. Then they have what? They have the question mark. Or they have an exclamation mark. Or they have a full stop. That is wrong. All quotation marks are supposed to come inside the closing speech marks. So I'm going to say, Abdi asked, comma, proper punctuation, opening speech marks, capital letter, are you sick? Then we have a question mark because it was asked. If it was asked, then it is what? Then it is a question mark. Then you have that, the question mark, and then you have the closing speech marks. All other punctuation marks come inside what? Come inside the quotation marks. So when you are punctuating direct speech, you should just keep in mind the four rules of punctuating the direct speech. After the opening speech mark, the first letter should be capital. A comma is placed before the words quoted. Speech marks only enclose words spoken by the speaker. All other punctuation marks come inside what? Come inside the punctuation mark. Come before the closing speech mark. Now we have direct and then we have the indirect speech. I base on direct speech punctuation because I said this one comes in the exam. Actually, it comes in the exam. They're asking from either question 16 to question 25, and then they want you to give the sentence that is correctly punctuated. Or when it comes to your composition writing, some people do not know how to write if they are using direct speech in their composition. They do not know how to quote the words spoken by the speaker. So number 2, we have the indirect speech. Indirect speech is a sentence in which we report what someone said. And in the indirect speech, there is no use of quotation marks. We simply say quotation marks are also called inverted comma. inverted commas, or we can also call them what? We can also call them speech marks. Speech marks. Actually, most we all know them as what? As speech mark. As speech marks. So in the indirect speech, there is no use of speech marks. We simply quote the exact words spoken by a speaker. We report the exact words that have been spoken by a speaker. In the direct speech, we quote the exact words spoken by a speaker by use of what? Quotation marks. Now, when you're talking about direct and indirect speech, pronouns and some certain words change. Like a pupil might be in a position to change the sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, but they do not know how some certain words, especially pronouns, change from the direct speech to the indirect speech, or they do not know how some certain words, let's say today, let's say tomorrow, let's say the previous day, or let's say now, there, changes from the direct speech to the indirect speech. So I've come here and then I've outlined pronouns, how pronouns are going to change from the direct speech to the indirect speech. Now we have pronoun we, first person plural. It changes to they in the indirect speech. From direct speech you have I, which is first person singular. First person singular changes to he or she, which is third person male and female he and she. And then you have you, and you remember you first person can either be singular or it can be plural. So if it is you first person and it is singular, it changes to she, to he, to her, or to he, to him. And then when it is you for second person plural, it's going to change to they or them. Pay attention here. I said when it is you for second person singular, it changes to she, to he, to her, or to he, to him. When it is you for second person plural, it is going to be they or they or them. You is unanimous. It is both singular and plural. So you check the sentence. Is the sentence insinuating singularity, or is the sentence in plural? So if it is singular, she, he, her, and he and him. You, they, and them. And we talked about this, she, he, her, and him, when we talked of nominative pronouns, and then we talked of objective pronouns. And then you have me, which is first person. Then you have him, it changes to, me changes to him or to her. Now you have us, which changes to them. These are pronouns, both nominative and both subjective. I talked about pronouns. I hope you are in a position to differentiate between a nominative pronoun and a subjective pronoun. Nominative pronouns are used as subjects in a sentence, while objective pronouns are receivers of the action. She talked to them. Example, in a sentence I can have she talked to them. She becomes the nominative and them becomes the objective, like them becomes the receiver of the action. And you should also be in a position to know when to use objective and when to use nominative pronouns in a sentence. And then you have our, which changes to their possession. Our changes to their, and then this is plural. You have your, and you remember your is possessive second person singular and plural. So your, if it is singular, it changes to his or hers, and if it is plural, it changes to theirs. And then you have is, which is changes to was or what. Is, which is direct speech, changes to was or what. I'm having here direct speech, how words can be used in direct speech, and how these pronouns are going to change when it comes to the indirect speech. I changes to he or she, third person. You is both singular and plural. Singular changes to she or he, and you, if it is plural, changes to they or them. So you check the direct speech and then you check the indirect speech. What does that mean? If you have a sentence and you have been told to change the sentence from the direct speech to the indirect speech, as a learner, you go to the sentence and try to break the sentence down. You try to break the sentence, or you analyze the sentence, so that you are in a position to know how you are going to change the sentence. That means you are going to go in for pronoun. Which pronoun has been used in the sentence? And how do I change this pronoun to the what? To the indirect speech. You should be in a position to know when to change which pronoun, how each pronoun in the direct speech changes to the indirect speech, I said some pronouns change and some certain words also change from the direct speech to the indirect speech to the indirect speech. So you have here can, which is a modal auxiliary verb, changes to could, modal auxiliary verb. You have will, which is also a modal auxiliary verb, it changes to would in the indirect speech. So you have here direct speech, and then you have that is indirect speech. Indirect speech can changes to could, will changes to would, today changes to that day. Now this changes to those, this singular changes to that. You have last changes to the previous. Here changes to there. For example, I have in a sentence, come here, opening speech marks. We say you have capital letters, come here. So if come here, you have what? A comma, closing speech marks, small letter, called the teacher, the teacher. That is an example in a sentence. I said come here, opening speech marks, capital letter, come here, comma, closing speech marks, called the teacher. My C after the closing speech marks is small, not capital. They say called the teacher. And then if I want to change this into the indirect speech, the teacher, for example, called her, the teacher called her to go there. So I'm having there, but in my direct speech I have here. Here changes to what? Changes to there. You have here changes to there. You have now changes to then. For example, I can have opening speech marks here. Let us go now. He said that we should go there. Let us go now. He said, let's say we change this into direct speech. He said, we should go there. We should go then. We should go what? I have now and then I have then. And just remember us. When I talked of pronouns, I said us. We changes to us. Which means if you have us in your direct speech, then it changes to we. Changes to we in the indirect speech. You should note that down. You should write the notes. Check how pronouns change to the direct speech, from direct speech to indirect speech. Now I have let us go now. He said we should go there. We should go then. I'm having we. I'm having us in the sentence. I'm having now and I'm having then in my sentence. Now changes to then, and then you have us, which is a pronoun. I'm just trying to show you how you can change the sentences from the direct speech to indirect. You have us, which changes to we. I said here changes to there. Then you can have now changes to then. You can have tonight changes to that night. Just like today changes to that day. Then you have yesterday changes to the previous day. But when you have tomorrow changes to the next day or the following day. Now tomorrow we will go to Mombasa. Tomorrow, let me say for example, tomorrow we will go to Mombasa. We will go to Mombasa. Tomorrow we will go to Mombasa. When it's speech marks, then let's say I'm closing. Tomorrow we will go to Mombasa. I want the sentence change to indirect speech. What are you going to say? He said that the following day, he said, for example, father said, he said that the following day, or you can say the next day, the following day, we would go to Mombasa. Say that the following day we would go to Mombasa. So I'm having would in my sentence, and I'm having will, which is changing to would. And then I'm having the following day, but in my sentence, in my direct speech, I had what? I had tomorrow. So you have this change from direct speech and then the indirect speech. I also gave examples of what? Examples of pronouns and how they change from the direct speech to the indirect speech Now you come to tenses. When we are dealing with tenses, we have the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. So in the direct speech, let me deal with the present tense. The present simple changes to the past C. Present simple changes to the past single. For example, let's say we sing loud. We sing loud. That is my direct speech. If I want to change the sentence from tomorrow, if I want to change my direct sentence to the indirect present tense, we'll sing loud. Now, this is my present tense, and then I'm going to say they sang. They sang loud. I'm having what? They sang loud. They sang loud. We sing loud, and then my past tense, my indirect speech is going to be from the present tense changes to the past simple. From the present simple changes to the past simple. Now, why is it the present simple? You have sing, and then you have sang. You have sing, and then you have what? And then you have sang. So if you have that, you have sing, and then you have sang. So you're saying present simple, we sing loud. Then past simple, you're going to say they sang loud. So sing is the present simple, and sang is the past simple. Then you have the present continuous tense. How do you form the present continuous tense? It's formed by am, is or are plus ia plus ing. And then the past continuous, how do you form the past continuous? It's formed by was or were plus in plus ing. I talked about this when I was talking about active in passive voice. For example, I am, I'm saying I am singing, I am singing. This is the present continuous tense, And then if I want to change the present continuous tense, I am singing, to the past continuous tense, I'm forming my present using am plus ing, which is the present participle tense. So you're having the ing. And then when you want to change this present continuous tense, I am singing, or you can say she is singing, if you want to use is. Or if you want to use are, you can say we are singing, we are singing. They are all present continuous tense. I for first person, she for third person, she is for first person, and then we are having we are, which is plural first person or third person. We are singing, they are singing, they are singing. So if I want to change this, I am singing, or let's say we are singing. For example, we can say we are singing, we are singing. We are going to say they were singing. We are going to simply say they were singing, sing. You are having we, which is changing to what? Which is changing to they. We said the we in the present tense changes to they in the direct speech. Just like here, tomorrow we'll go to Mombasa. He said that the following day they would go to Mombasa. That's why I changed they. When you have we in the present, you change it to the they in the what? In the indirect. You make sure any moment you have a pronoun in a sentence, just make sure you go back to the table and you check which this pronoun changes to what when it comes to the indirect. Like I'm having will go to Mombasa, so he said that the following day they will go to Mombasa. They, which is we in the present, and would, which is will in the present, to the following day, which is tomorrow. So you say we are singing, they were singing in indirect. How do you form the present perfect tense? The present perfect tense is formed by has or have plus a past participle. So you form the past perfect, which is formed by had, plus a past participle. For example, she has a banana. For example, I can say she has a banana. She has, for example, or you can say we have bananas. We has plus have, which is the past participle. So you say she has eaten. For example, I'm going to say she has eaten. She has eaten a banana. She has eaten a banana. Change it into the past perfect. You say she had eaten a banana. You simply have had plus the past participle. You say she had eaten a banana. So you say she had, it changes to she had eaten a banana. I'm having she has, present perfect changes to the past perfect. So you pay attention. Present changes to present simple changes to the past simple. Present continuous changes to the past continuous. Present perfect changes to the past perfect. If you don't know how to form the tenses, you simply go to what? You are not on passive and active voice. You see how we change the tenses from the simple to the. So tomorrow I continue with the lesson using the past tense, then the future tense, and how we are going to change these sentences from the direct and indirect speech. Meanwhile, you can also read on it. Have a good day.